So a subscriber mentioned recently that they were having problems with their seatbelt notifications. And when they were setting the car with the seatbelt on, the car was still bonging and saying that it wasn't plugged in. So I thought today we'd have a quick look at how to diagnose what the fault could be. So these seatbelts actually have an electrical connection to them, just like a switch basically. So the car knows when the seatbelt is plugged into it. Like we saw before when we took the seats out of the car, the cable for that basically runs through the back of the seat and comes through onto the loom that plugs in under this panel here. As we know, the seat's got airbags in as well. The airbag connection terminates here also. So the first thing we're going to do is just disconnect the battery. Okay, so with the battery disconnected, I'm just going to leave it now for about 20 minutes to let any capacitors discharge. Just while we're waiting for that 20 minutes or so to pass, we can see at the back here the electrical connection for the centre seatbelt. So all three seatbelts in the back have got exactly the same connection as well. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is obviously represented on the display up in the middle there that we looked at a minute ago. So one of the first and easiest things you could do is obviously just trace these cables here, make sure they're not broken, make sure they're fine, they're still connected and they're not snapped or anything. For the front seats it's a little bit different though, like I say. They've got their own wiring loom that comes through all the way along underneath the seat and obviously terminates in here. So to access this plug then, what we need to do is first remove this kind of little washer on the top. You can just get that in there, get your fingernails underneath it or something like that and it should just come away nicely. And then this panel here is just velcroed on, so we can just pull that away and off it comes. And that exposes our plug here. If you've got electrical heated seats, you might actually have two, I think, if I remember rightly. I've not, I've only just got airbags in the seats and obviously the seatbelt connection, so I've only just got the one plug there. So then to remove this plug, firstly just about down here, can't really see it that well from here, there's a little yellow pin. You can just kind of pull that sideways, so hopefully you just saw that kind of come out there. Once that's off, what you can then do is just start to pull the grey clip out kind of in that direction, and as that happens what you can do is just kind of lift the plug at the same time and it comes away just nicely. So there's that little yellow pin I was talking about. So that just kind of, once it's in position, slides down into position and keeps it locked in. So in my car, we've got the two cables. This one with the kind of the braided shroud is the one for the airbag, and this one with the kind of more shinier shroud is the one for the seatbelt connection. This black connection here is the one for the seatbelt in my car, and this grey one is the one for the airbag. So looking where they terminate into, you can just about see two pins there, one there and one there. With the seatbelt not plugged in, you should get continuity on these. If I put a multimeter onto those two pins, hopefully he says he can do it like this, we should get continuity. There we go. We can see that there's a bit of resistance there, but we're getting a good continuity. If I now plug the seatbelt in and we do the same test with the meter, what we should see is that there's no continuity anymore. So if I hold the meter on there and now disconnect the seatbelt, there we go. The second I unclick it, we get that continuity back. So that's what you should be looking for with yours to make sure that your cable is okay, and obviously the plug connection in the seatbelt plug itself is working okay. If you're not getting that continuity, or it's not stopping, or it's not changing state when you're plugging and unplugging it in there, then you know that there's probably something faulty between there and the plug itself. So it shouldn't be too difficult to work out. Realistically, if you need to get to that bit, it's going to be removing the seat, taking it out and having a look. So maybe I'll put a link up here for the video about how to remove the seat safely. Okay, then putting it back together is just the reverse. Okay, great. So then now with the battery reconnected, we should be able to turn the ignition on. What we're going to see probably is that we get the normal steering code faults. So we've got to reset the time and date, have power steering check, see handbook, yada yada yada, everything that we all know. Way to resolve that, obviously. One, start the car. There we go. Turn the steering all the way. Lock to the right. Lock to the left. Back to centre. Turn it off. Key out. Key back in. Start it up again. and now all we've got time and date to reset. So that's fine, that's all good. So now back up at the indicator panel, we can see obviously the passenger seat is green, there's no one in that, that's fine. Across the middle one's plugged in, just as I said before, and then obviously the driver's seat where I am today, it's showing red because I'm sat in it. If I take the seat belt, bring it around, plug it in, we can see it's gone green. And if I unplug it, there we go, it's gone red again. So we know it's working perfect. So there we go, a nice easy one for today. Hopefully that's been useful. If you've got a problem with your seat belts, then you should be able to do it. And like I say, if it's one of these ones and it's a fault from here to the plug, then it's going to be easier to take the seats out. So if that's helped or you found it useful, please do give us a like down below. If you haven't done so already, remember to hit subscribe coming up here now. It'll be so much easier to find your way back to all the videos that are on the channel. Like I said, there's over 100 and so now on this car alone. But for today, thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.